Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Commissioner Califf, for joining us here today. Appreciate everything that you do and the work of your agency. We enjoy I think the best and the safest food supply in the world, and that's thanks in part a lot to the work you guys do. But as you mentioned earlier, it's all about the tension. We strive for perfection. We all want that, but where's the right level of regulatory burden that goes along with it and the cost? And candidly, you guys can put out the rules. You don't have to bear the responsibility of the costs that are associated with all those. And we represent folks who do. I'd like to associate myself with a lot of the comments already made by my colleagues regarding the food traceability rule. We talked about that. I asked you about that last year because it was a fairly fresh ruling at the time, but here we are another year down the tracks, and there's still a tremendous amount of uncertainty out there in the industry as to how this is going to be implemented. Ranking Member Bishop and I introduced the Food Traceability Enhancement Act. We talked about that as far as pilot programs. The difficulty we're facing is folks don't know how they're going to implement that. They agree with the concept. As you had mentioned earlier, we're looking to figure it out. There's going to be some form of phasing in, but I kind of get the sense it's like you guys are going to throw it out there and industry's going to figure it out because that's what they do. The challenge we have with that, at the grower level, they're having to compete against international products that aren't going to have to comply with this. So that's a cost there. If they're going to have if these farmers are going to be able to market their products, they're going to have to eat that cost, or they're not going to be competitive. The grocery stores, they're going to sell what's available in the store, and they're going to pass the cost along to consumers. So at a time we can't afford higher food costs, that's what's going to happen. There's so much uncertainty around it that cost estimates over the phase-in of this are anywhere from hundreds of millions to as much as 25 billion I've seen over 20 years. No one really knows, but and we really do need low-cost technology to make this really feasible for the smaller folks out there. I'm really concerned in my community. I have a lot of rural areas in my district that either don't have grocery stores at all, that are truly food deserts. They may be lucky to have a convenience store, or they have one grocery store. And a lot of these folks, the small grocers that don't have the buying power of the big chains, are worried that they're not going to be able to compete at all. I would just really urge you to take a look at maybe giving some more specific guidance to help folks and implement some of these pilot programs like we're asking for. But really, we can come back and you can comment if there's time, but I don't have a lot. I did want to move on to one other thing specific to Florida and orange juice. Very important to me. My district is the largest citrus producer, and certainly in Florida, and probably one of the largest in the country with respect to orange juice. But in 2022, the Florida orange industry submitted a petition to FDA to lower BRICS, the BRICS content, the sugar content required for not from concentrate pasteurized orange juice. There's no effect on the taste, and there's very little effect on the nutrient level. In fact, a lot of people looking at it as they're looking for healthier drink choices would say it's got fewer calories, it's got more vitamin C, lower carbohydrates, all those things. So it's a good thing for consumers, but more importantly right now for our growers who are struggling to get through greening challenges, the hurricanes and things like that, if the BRICS levels aren't reduced, Florida may be in a position where it can no longer provide pasteurized orange juice. And so more of the market's going to come from outside the country. FDA got overwhelmingly positive comments on the petition that was sent out about this. No real downside that we see, and yet 2 years later, there's still been nothing done with this. This would be a relatively easy and I think non-controversial fix that FDA could do to help us. Could you commit or comment on getting that rulemaking initiated?
We're going to get it done. The standards of identity started in 1939 with rulemaking, which is such a cumbersome way to deal with this because of the complexity of the regulation and all the things that have to be brought into play. But I think we're close to reaching an accommodation, and we're fully aware this is not the growers' fault. Changes have occurred in the environment that have led to a change in the content, and as I understand it, there's some tension between accommodating the needs of the growers, which are very legitimate, and the standard of identity, which is meant to preserve the tastes that people are used to. I think we're very close to getting there. There's just some interaction that's occurring to get it to the right place.
Is there any kind of timeline we could commit
I
to
wish
on
I could
that?
give you a timeline, but I can't give timelines on rules.
Well, so the challenge we face is, you know, we're one hurricane away, literally, from completely decimating the industry. And any lifeline we could get right now as they turn the corner on greening would really be.
I hear you, and we're going to move as quickly as we can. I'm told we're very close.
All right, I appreciate that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.